What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight we're going to go over AEW Dynamite, December the 7th, 2022, the go-home show for Final Battle Ring of Honor, which happens this Saturday from Arlington, Texas. We had two championship matches. We had a TNT Championship match and an incredible TNT Championship match between Darby Allin and champion Samoa Joe, who also will be defending his Ring of Honor Television Championship against Juice Robinson on Saturday night. And FTR challenging the Acclaimed for the AEW Tag Team Titles. They will be defending their Tag Team Titles against the Briscoes again for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Titles. We'll get to that a little bit later on, because I will quickly run through the card for Final Battle, and then I will be doing the prediction show tomorrow for Final Battle. But if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit the like button, do all that jazz of stuff that you do here on social media. Follow the Twitter, Misfit Wrestle TV, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, which I don't really use very much. And right here, youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. We do have a release been confirmed. William Regal has been let go, has been given a conditional release from AEW. He finished up with the company last week. The segment did write him off of television. Regal requested to not be picked up for a renewal at the end of the year. Instead, Tony Khan gave him a conditional release, and he is going back to WWE under one condition. He will not be on television for the entire year of 2023. He will be able to return to WWE as a producer, whatever they want him to be backstage. Maybe a talent scout like he was before they released him earlier this year. Who knows, but we'll find that out. He also wants to be closer with his son, who is on NXT, Charlie Dempsey, who is like Bryan Danielson and William Regal wrapped into one. I did watch NXT last night, just out of curiosity. I wanted to see what was it I wanted to see? I don't actually remember what it was I wanted to see. But speaking of NXT, we had 4 WWE tryouts, which just coincides with AEW and Ring of Honor. You have 4 WWE tryouts that are still going on between 4 really good talents. Smiley Kylie Rae, she competed on the very first AEW pay-per-view Double or Nothing. She competed against in a fatal 4-way match. Was herself, Nyla Rose, Dr. Britt Baker, and Awesome Kong. Of course, Dr. Britt Baker ended up winning that match. And that was her only appearance in AEW. And was later confirmed by Tony Khan, I believe, at All Out that same year, that she asked for her release, took a hiatus from wrestling, showed up in places like NWA, Impact, did a short stint in Impact Wrestling. He is doing a tryout with WWE. Casey Navarro, he is a former wrestler he's competed in AEW as well. He's also wrestled for Impact Wrestling and CCW, CZW, Major League Wrestling. He made an appearance on AEW Dark. He teamed with El Australiano. They lost to Dark Order members Alex Reynolds and John Silver. He did some tag matches on Dark as well in January and March of last year. He is doing some stuff with AEW, or not AEW, WWE, as he is doing a tryout there. He is also speaking of AEW, he is also the brother of Diamante. Current, I believe currently is working for. Or she is not. She's not actually signed, but she is doing stuff for AEW. She's a former member of LAX, but she is doing stuff with AEW. She is the sister of Casey Navarro. The Righteous, Dutch and Vincent were also on hand last night for NXT. They were watching the show from the crowd. They are our former Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions. They lost their tag team titles to Dalton Castle and the boys at Death Before Dishonor earlier this year. They have been rumored to be connected to this Bray Wyatt storyline. If that's going to happen, who knows? But they are part of these tryouts this weekend, or this week rather, and I should point out for people who don't really understand what tryouts mean, just because they are doing tryouts, it does not mean they're signed to the company. It's what a tryout is. You're not signed, they're just doing tryouts. WWE may not even sign any of these people. I mean, for example, Brian Kendrick, he came in to produce the terrible Ronda Rousey match at Survivor Series on the request of Ronda Rousey. He produced the match. No one liked it. He was not hired. So like I said, you can be tried out. For example, there was another who else was tried out? I think Ricky Starks was tried out for WWE, and they said no. So it was either somebody got tried out for WWE, and then he went to AEW and became a star. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, those are the little news outlets about William Regal, his release from AEW. He had a interview segment with William Regal that was not filmed, shown earlier in the show. But yeah, let's go over AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite was actually really fun this week. I enjoyed this show probably a lot more than I did last week. Last week's show was awkward. I will have some news on Ring of Honor during the Ring of Honor prediction show about what's the Ring of Honor status for the TV deal. And Tony Khan saying that after this week going forward, hopefully there will be less Ring of Honor taking up majority of the television show on Wednesdays and Fridays. Which tells me a lot of people may be losing their titles on Saturday afternoon. But we opened the show with Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, which was won by Ricky Starks. Battle Royal was all right, nothing too great about it. But what everyone is talking about is not the Battle Royal itself. Everyone is talking about the post segment. MJF comes out. He starts running down Bryan Danielson. Says Bryan Danielson is a coward. Basically is calling him. He does want to come out here and just is scared of MJF, which is not true. They're still building towards MJF and Bryan Danielson for almost Full Gear. We just did Full Gear Revolution. He calls Ricky Starks the drizzling shits, and he also calls him a dollar store rock or dollar store Dwayne. He claims he stole everything from The Rock. MJF says he's going to start calling Ricky Starks the Pebble. Next week, he will put him in his pocket. He will drive to the nearest water and will skip his ass back to NWA. No one wants to go there. Wrestle on YouTube where he belongs, which is kind of funny given that they have 2 shows, Mondays and Tuesdays, that are on YouTube. MJF doesn't care that he is absolute because he's a generational talent. And his reign of terror, which apparently was trademarked by AEW, so you're going to hear a lot of that going forward has just begun. Starks then, like a beast, walks past MJF, bumps him on the shoulder. Starks, this is where it got good. And this is how you know someone is made into a star. Starks calls a maxi pad, which immediately gets over. Which I'm like, okay. Crowd starts chanting maxi pad. He said he should have expected a fifth rate Roddy Piper wannabe to come out and says the low hanging fruit is running dry. He mocks MJF's tan, his terrible haircut, his shirt, his goofy ass scarf. He tells MJF to give him a break if he wants to be better than him, or if he thinks MJF is better than him. Starks says everything about MJF screams cheap. He has a responsibility as a champion that he knows nothing about, which I guess Starks believes he gave the people a reason to keep going. But when fans believe in MJF, he let them down as he did to Regal. He delivers on time every week. Talking about himself. He's been busting his ass since he's been here. So Stark says he's been busting his ass and says MJF avoids the pressure and responsibility as Starks turns up to meet as Ricky Stark says he turns up the meet and greets while MJF blows it off, talking about the incident during Double or Nothing weekend. Stark says that he was grinding when he was living in a car years ago when he was homeless. Basically, says that next week he will shut him up and he busted his ass on YouTube. With NWA and doing stuff with Dark and stuff like that. He says that he doesn't need a name. Next week he will slap the mold off of MJF's neck. He says that he'll take the responsibility off his plate next week as both stare down. MJF does the cheeky heel thing to do and just low blows him in the balls. MJF tries to go for use the ring, but he misses. Starks hits a beautiful spear out of his boots or shoes, literally, and Starks holds the belt up, signifying for next week's title match, which I can't wait for. I know Starks is going to lose, but goddamn, this was incredible shit. This was one of my favorite promos of the year. Not of the year, but one of my favorite promos in a while from Ricky Starks. One of my favorite segments in a while. It was great. Ricky Starks is a fucking superstar. Come on. Eventually, I would love for AEW to come around to this in a year, around Full Gear again, or depending on however long they want to keep the title on MJF, and you have Ricky Starks build up momentum and keep having that momentum go up, and him keep getting over the crowd. And when he's red hot, and you're ready to take the title off of MJF, there's your guy right there. Ricky Starks is the guy to take the title off of MJF sometime next year. Jon Moxley's backstage. He says he's starting to like Hangman Page after he's fallen off his horse, and then him getting back off of it, back on top of his horse rather. Moxley says this is all elite wrestling, not all elite talking. He says he likes that, and in this week Willie Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli bring that back, and this weekend they're putting Jericho Appreciation Society in the rearview mirror. And if Page wants a piece of any of this, he knows where to find him. So, still story building for the eventual pay-per-view match. Hopefully, if not, then it'll probably be at like somewhere. But I do think, depending on how far they want to keep this up, because Revolution is in March, and that's like 4 months from now. That's like 3 months from now. So who knows? But I'm liking what we're seeing here. My favorite match of the night, Samoa Joe murdering Darby Allin, but it was really fucking great to retain the TNT Championship. So Darby Allin Kick starts using his speed to send Samoa Joe out of the ring, but emotions get him. He does and I knew everyone was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. He goes for the suicide dive, and Joe just casually just walks out of the way. Darby just fucking launches himself into the barricade. Looked brutal as shit, and I'm glad they did it because I popped for it. Joe continues delivering the attack on Darby Allin, using him as a battering ram. Launches Darby into the barricade and on the ring apron several times over and over again, using him like a rag doll, exposing the concrete, and and he starts ragdolling Darby around the exposed concrete. But Darby eventually breaks out of the situation, only to run into a huge slam onto the concrete anyway. Back into the ring, Allin Darby starts attempting several kicks to get back into the match, but a headbutt from Samoa Joe immediately puts him down. Then Darby Allin he runs Darby onto the ring apron, throws him into the ring post, sends the challenger just flying across the. He's basically just ruining Darby Allin's night, and it's great stuff to watch. Darby beats the 10 count barely, but he's hit with a Manhattan drop and a big boot, then a senton. Darby was able to kick out of the fall of a pinfall. Samoa Joe then looks to dive to the outside. Looks to do a dive, like a similar suicide dive, but Darby gets back into the ring and then jumps on to Joe. However, Samoa Joe catches in midair, but Darby reverses and sends the champion into the steel stairs, following up with a coffin drop to the outside, which I almost thought he was because how the camera angle had it, I thought for a second that Darby was going to do the coffin drop onto the fucking stairs. But it was not. Thank God, because that would have been nasty as shit. But it's still on the outside though. Darby hits the stunner, then a Code Red onto Joe. Joe was able to kick out, despite the flurry of offense by Darby Allin. Joe plants Darby with an STO, then a major chop while Darby is on the top turnbuckle. He fights back, sends Joe to the mat. Darby looks for the coffin drop and a beautiful fucking counter from Samoa Joe so Darby's coming off the top rope with the coffin drop and beautiful fucking counter from Samoa Joe into the coquina clutch. Darby passes out, and Samoa Joe retains the championship. After the match, Darby gets up. He wants some more, but he's dropped with a headbutt. Samoa Joe gets the skateboard, hits the muscle buster on the skateboard, which looked nasty as shit. Samoa Joe locks in the coquina clutch again, or a sleeper rather, until Darby Allin is out. Wardlow sprints down to the ring, forces the champion to back away, and that's how that whole thing ends. That was a beautiful match. I enjoyed the hell out of that. This is the Samoa Joe I've missed seeing on my television. This killer that wish that was the NXT champion when he was going up against Nakamura, and telling Regal that if he doesn't bring Nakamura to him, I'm gonna ruin everyone's life. And even the stuff he was doing in TNA, the scary Samoa Joe, I love it. I'm so glad that they turned him heel because that just needed to happen. But I would love to see this match again. Hopefully without Wardlow involved. Wardlow was so over around like the build up to Double or Nothing. He's just kind of lost his flair. He's what I would consider the flavor of the month now, and that's over with because the whole thing with MJF kind of ruined his momentum, and MJF basically screwed over Wardlow's momentum and screwed over the push that Wardlow was getting, all because of the stupid fucking issue he had. Like, come on now. So next up, we have this was actually pretty funny. Orange Cassidy is backstage with Tony Schiavone and Kip Sabian. Tony Schiavone says that Orange Cassidy requested this time with Kip Sabian. Tells Kip if he wants a championship match, all he has to do is ask. Kip, basically accuses Orange Cassidy of waiting until he was attacked by Dustin Rhodes, who, by the way, Dustin Rhodes confirmed earlier this week that next year he's retiring from professional wrestling. So next year will be his last year as a professional wrestler. So I would say thank you to Dustin Rhodes for all the years of entertainment through the Gold Dust stuff, through him as the natural Dustin Rhodes, and the amazing storyline that you had with Cody and Dusty going into that in 2013. Good stuff. But and having have that phenomenal match with Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing 3 years ago. So kudos to you, man. But get back to Kip Sabian. He tells Orange Cassidy that he's hurting, and Cassidy says that we'll find someone else to challenge him on this Friday on Rampage. I know who it is. I know who people thought was going to be. And I originally thought I said it was going to probably be Malachi Black. Nope, it was not Malachi Black. Next up, a match I don't give a shit about, but I like three of the people in this match. You got three of the most talented wrestlers in the world and Jake Hager. Blackpool Combat Club pick up the win here. Let's not talk about the match. Let's talk about the post match here. Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and he says he's got an interview that he did a few weeks ago with William Regal. They show the interview. Regal says that people only see this if something bad is to happen. So they basically did that. If you're seeing this, I'm dead thing, which I don't think has ever been done in wrestling before, which is very unique. He gave him back to Regal saying he gave MJF what he wanted, but saying that it's to be careful what you wish for, and now everyone will be chasing MJF for the championship. He realizes the three main members of Blackpool Combat Club don't need him. Whatever happened to Bryan Danielson? I'm pretty sure there's four of those guys, but that's neither here or there. But they wouldn't let him go. William Regal says he went. Regal says that the three men in the ring doesn't need him, but they won't let him go. Regal needed to do this to show them that they could make Yuta the best wrestler in the world. So he talking about Danielson, Claudio, and Moxley. He says that this was the final. This was the final thing he could teach. Always stay one step ahead, and keep an eye in the eyes of the back of your head. Because like last week, Regal got knocked out in the back of the head from the brass knuckles by MJF. He says that it's been emotional, and he is Blackpool Combat Club for life, and that was basically how they wrote off William Regal, which kudos to the AEW of how they handled that. I'm critical of how Tony Khan handles things like that, but kudos to the AEW for handling the situation with William Regal very, very professionally. And like I said, that's how much respect William Regal has earned in this business, and that's why he's one of the greatest of all time, and that's why he's the greatest general manager in wrestling history. I'm sorry to tell you this. Moxley says, we're back into the ring here, or back to live footage here. Moxley says that he knows one thing for sure: the men in this ring live and breathe the sport of professional wrestling. At Final Battle, the war is over with Jericho Appreciation Society. And on Friday, he challenges any wrestler to face him in the world, any wrestler in the world to face him on Rampage. We find out that it's Konosuke Takeshita. You know who I'm talking about. I'm going to mispronounce that name, but he's great. He's phenomenal. I'm excited for that. Here's another match I don't care about. Jay Cargill and the Baddies defeated Masquerade and Kiera Hogan and Sky Blue. Let's move on. They didn't follow up anything with fucking Bow Wow. No one gives a shit. I don't give a shit. But before that, let's talk about something I do care about. The House of Black aired a video package. Malachi says the company is dying and is becoming has become sick by letting people corrupt it. He thinks it's up to them to put the corruption down. Julia Hart says the crime is treason. Buddy Matthews adds the verdict is war. Brody King then says that they will tear the meat off from the bones and the sentence is extermination. Black adds if anyone has an issue of what they've done in the last few weeks, next week, come one, come all. And it was announced that on Dynamite, winter is coming next week. The House of Black will be back in action. I think this promo was a shot. Well, not a legit shot, but like, this is basically the House of Black talking about the Elite without mentioning the Elite's name, because it just screams like if the end game is not the Elite versus the House of Black at Revolution, what are we even doing here? Because again, if we're gonna do the House of Black versus the Elite, I think that's where this should go. Because as much as I would love to see Malachi Black with a singles title, you got to do something with him. Like, don't leave Brody and Buddy out without nothing, you know? Following that, another thing I liked on the show, Jamie Hayter says is with Tony Schiavone. She says it's baffled that she hasn't had a sit down interview yet. Tony Schiavone asks Hayter's thoughts on the women's division. She said it's interesting, but she's on the top of the totem pole. She's the AEW Women's Champion. She will do her duty as champion and be the reigning and defending champion. She will give out the title shot to the winner of Friday's Reina Del Rey. I think it's Reina Del Rey. It's the Wave Women's Championship. Cheetah defending her title against the Bunny. It could be obviously Cheetah winning the match, and I'm excited for that because I am super pumped to see Cheetah versus Jamie Hayter. That's going to slap all the types of slap that's going to happen, and it's going to be great. After the trios match that no one gives a shit about, Saraya is shown with Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone is doing interviews all over the fucking place tonight. Where was Renee Paquette? Who knows? Schiavone is with Saraya. Saraya, rather. I knew I was gonna mess that up eventually. Again, Britt Baker immediately just interrupts the interview. It says the win that happened at Full Gear will never happen again. She says that Saraya has had things handed to her. She hands her tickets to the January 11th show. Says that if you can be in the crowd or you can be in the ring with me. Saraya agrees to the match, but Britt Baker says that she'll be teaming up with Jamie Hayter, and tells her Saraya to find a tag team partner. Now, this is I don't know who it's gonna be. Me originally thought, I don't think it's gonna be Sasha Banks. I don't actually think that. I'm not going to assume it's gonna be her. Based on Jamie Hayter's promo earlier, my first instinct was it's going to be Hikaru Shida. But who knows? We'll see what happens there. Main event, the Acclaim defeated FTR to retain the AEW Tag Team Titles. This match was great. Both teams get the chance, start getting their own chance. FTR, Scissor Me Daddy thing, all that stuff. At one point, Anthony Bowens charges in quickly with a punch for both members of FTR as he fires up and plants Wheeler on the mat. Then Harwood, he drops Dax Harwood with a thrust kick and then knee striker which gets near fall obviously. Anthony Bowens clunks heads with Dax and Cash Wheeler. for a roll up, but it doesn't get the job down. He then plants him with a neck breaker, which comes close to FTR, then almost get the job done with a spike pile driver. Again, Bowens out. Bowens is just fucking killing it here. Max Caster gets into the ring. He nails a spear, gets a near fall. The Acclaimed connect with the double team of move of their own. Again, not even close to retaining there. The champions then go for another move here. Harwood rolls through, kicks Caster into his partner. They are like into the corner. They look for the big rig. FTR looks for the big rig. But it gets stopped by the Acclaimed, and happens again but when the champions try to hit that move. I think the Acclaim was trying to hit. I'm gonna assume they tried to hit the heart attack, but I'm not 100% sure. That's what it seemed like they were going for. FTR was able to finally hit the big rig for a close near fall. Anthony Bowens wipes out Dax Harwood on the floor, only to be slammed face first by Cash Wheeler. Max Caster slaps him with a backhand, but Cash Wheeler levels Max Caster with a trios of clotheslines and then a power bomb. He tries to go for a pin. Caster rolls that up through into a reversal, and the Acclaim retain the tag team titles in a fun main event to close Dynamite. After the match, on the Titantron, as both teams are hugging and showing their respect for one another, the Gun Club is on the screen, because who needs them to be on the screen again? They say that they got presents for FTR, which is a card from the Briscoe brothers, because again, Warner Brothers are pussies and they just don't want they built this match. They built all these matches with the Briscoes without the Briscoes being on television. It's kind of fucked up. But anyways, I get it what they mean, but this shit happened over 10 years ago. They've apologized. Warner Brothers needs to move the fuck on. Like I said, the Briscoe brothers again asked for another shot at the Ring of Honor Tag Team Titles, and they challenge FTR to a double dog collar match. So there's your your Ring of Honor Tag Team Title match, and that was how Dynamite goes off the air. Yeah, Dynamite was a fun show this week. Nothing like I enjoyed everything that happened on the show except the trios match. I did not give a shit about that because I don't care about the baddies. I don't care about Jay Cargill. I don't care about Bow Wow. If you're gonna look, there's more people on the roster. You could have had more time to, and you had way too much time with Jay Kager on the fucking television, and that's also something I had an issue with. So here is the updated card for Final Battle this Saturday night. We have Chris Jericho defending the the Ring of Honor Championship against Claudio Castagnoli. The stipulation is if Claudio loses, he must join Jericho Appreciation Society. Ring of Honor Pure Championship is on the line. Daniel Garcia defends against Wheeler Yuta. Samoa Joe puts the TV Championship on the line against Rock Hard Juice Robinson of the Bullet Club. I'm assuming he's still part of the Bullet Club. I have no idea. Ring of Honor Women's Championship, Mercedes Martinez defends against Athena. She's probably going to win it since it's her hometown. FTR defend the tag team titles against the Briscoes in a double dog collar match. Dalton Castle and the boys defend the Ring of Honor six-man tag team titles against in the Embassy and Brian Cage. And Shane Taylor Productions, Shane Taylor and JD Griffey take on Swerve and Our Glory. So there is Ring of Honor's Final Battle pay-per-view. And that was the end of Dynamite, man. Like I said, good, not that bad of a show. I enjoyed it. I loved the Darby Allin Samoa Joe match a little bit more than the main event. I loved the promo between MJF and Ricky Starks. I'm excited for their match next week. I love the stuff with the House of Black. I'm hoping keep that momentum up with the House of Black and don't go crazy with it. I also enjoyed Jamie Hayter's interview. I'm curious to see who Saraya is gonna choose for the January 11th show in Los Angeles. I'm curious to see where that's gonna go. I'm excited to see the potential Jamie Hayter Hikaru Shida match. That should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the Ring of Honor Final Battle prediction show. Then Friday night we got the SmackDown review. We got stuff happening on SmackDown. Let's talk about what's going on that show. We have a tag team title match. The Usos defending the tag team titles against Butch and Sheamus, who Pete Dunne is taking the place of Drew McIntyre. We have Shotzi taking on Shayna Baszler with Raquel in Shotzi's corner and Ronda Rousey in Shayna's corner. We are going to celebrate the birthday of Kurt Angle. Will the tryout people from yesterday's tryouts going to be in there? Will we see Vincent, the Dutch, Casey Navarro, and Kylie Rae? Who knows? I will not be watching NXT Deadline. I mean, I may watch it. I don't know. I'm sure as hell not gonna review the show. I do know that the New Day is going to be on that show. They're going to be challenging Pretty Deadly for the NXT Tag Team Titles. They're probably going to win it. I guess I can give my quick predictions, I guess. Alba Fire. No, I'm not going to call that. Kylie Rae takes on Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn's probably going to win that. Kylie Rae. If you're not going to give her, look, if you're not going to put the title on Kylie Rae, put her on the ass on the main roster. Because to me, she should have already won the championship 3 or 4 times already. We have the Iron Survivor Challenge, which is a weird fucking concept. For the women, we have Roxanne Perez. We have Zoe Stark. We have Kiana James. We have India Hartwell. And we have Cora Jade. I'm going to go with Roxanne Perez on that one. I think she's probably going to be the one to take hopefully take the one title off of Mandy Rose, preferably at the next pay-per-view in February when they go back on the road on February 4th for Vengeance Day. I do not want her going into WrestleMania weekend as the longest reigning women's champion in NXT history. We do not need Asuka's reign being fucking ruined by Mandy Rose. Speaking of, I'll get to Asuka in a little second. Indy Hartwell, hope to God she's coming up to the main roster because it's getting ridiculous at this point now. The other one, Axiom, formerly known as A-Kid, Carmella Hayes, Grayson Waller, Joe Gacy, and JD McDonough. That's probably going to go to Hope. If I'm booking this fucking shit, Carmella Hayes should win it so he can challenge for another title that's not the NXT North America title. Braun Breaker, Apollo Crews for the NXT title. Braun Breaker should not be coming up any fucking time soon, so Braun Breaker will retain the championship there. Asuka. Let's talk a little bit of Asuka before I get out of here. He is teasing something on the social media. Seems like she's teasing the return, or the WWE return, a debut rather, but return in form about the what's the word I'm looking for? I guess return to form of her character Kana. She's been teasing that on social media, and I'm excited. People are gonna die apparently. Rhea Ripley I love Rhea. She may have woken up the wrong beast, but I'm excited to see what's gonna happen here with this. So hopefully that's the plan. Although, or she's just trolling everyone because that's what she does. She likes to troll. She's like, she is like Becky on social media. Becky Lynch and Asuka like to troll people. They're very good at it too. So their Twitter game is fantastic. I love both of them. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys here tonight. Like I said, I will be back here for the Ring of Honor prediction show, or the Ring of Honor Final Battle predictions tomorrow. SmackDown on Friday. A Ring of Honor review sometime after Final Battle goes off the air. We'll have some more information on the Ring of Honor TV deals, the TV status for Ring of Honor. Because they will be talking about that in the media scrum, so that should be interesting. Will anybody debut on Saturday? Who the fuck knows at that point? But I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can do all the social medias. Misfit Wrestle TV on Twitter, Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Pod, Facebook, even though I don't use it, Misfit Wrestling Podcast, right here on youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. All the good stuff. Comment down below. The subscribe button. The like button. Until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. We're out.